how to live.
So, you said you were away recently overseas and we had a little Insta stalk and we saw you were in the US.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was really good. I go like 4 times a year.
Amazing.
But
4
I think
times a
this
year for
time,
work?
yeah, for work. I think this time it was more exciting for Instagram because I went to that resort called Amangiri
It looked amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Where was that?
in Utah.
So
Normally I
cool.
don't do that on a work trip. It was just like an in-between thing. I went with my little sister. She's wanted to go for like ages. She's like, I've had this on my Pinterest mood board for like 5 years.
Oh my God,
gosh.
amazing.
So,
Is
I
it
had to
very
take
like
her.
Instagrammable?
It is very like next level luxury, next level aesthetic.
Okay.
Yeah, not for basic people.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was very good.
Did you do anything in Utah? Like all I know about Utah is that they have
The
like a lot of
canyons.
plural marriage there.
Oh no, they've
You're
got
like
like all
canyons,
these.
you're like plural marriage.
They have all these. It's like so it's the land of like the Navajo people, and there are all these like cool canyons and like rock formations and stuff. It's like the land of like the kind of like the coyote and the like road runners and stuff.
Oh,
Very
Wildy coyote.
scenic. Yeah,
Oh, I know that.
That's
yeah,
really
you know
cool.
that.
Awesome. So we've just walked into your gorgeous office on is it a Monday?
It's a Monday.
Yes.
It's a Monday today.
What a great way to be spending a Monday, right?
I know. I was looking forward to this. I'm like, this makes sense. I'm not very busy anymore, so really I had to hang out in the office until 3 to wait. for
You're
you
not
guys.
very busy.
No.
Run us through a day in the life of Elise.
It's like a real misconception around stuff, around who I am. Everyone's like, oh, you're too busy. And I'm like, no, text
Give
me.
me something to do.
Yeah, text me. And I'm like, before I leave, I'm like, hey guys, does anyone need a hand with anything or should I just leave?
So why is that? Were you like super? I mean, I know you
So-
were super busy before.
Yeah, so a real turning point, I just realized that the more work I do, the less work my team have to do. And then it's harder to give them pay rises and progression if I'm doing everything.
Fair.
But
fair.
there'll probably be another point where I'm busy again, but like for the next 6 months, I don't feel very busy. I
So-
think it's just such a big difference. Like I'm probably still busy compared to like the average person.
You're
Yeah.
used
But
to
for
like a
m-
higher level
yeah.
of busy.
But for me, I'm like, oh, this is so chill. I guess
So are you don't sound that happy about it either.
it's weird. It's like weird to let go of like things.
Totally.
Yeah, of control. But like I have to get used to it. Also, I'm vaguely like not as peppy as I usually am because I was dumped 2 weeks ago.
Oh no.
I know. And I was traveling to Melbourne a lot and I loved it because I had like a Melbourne life and a Sydney life. But we parted ways. So,
Was it like a long-term thing?
yes, I have known this person for like 12 years.
Oh, that's tough.
I know. So it's real weird.
And do you find like when you're coming into the office, like you're just not able to be like as encouraging as everyone?
Well, I have to.
or-
I mean, it's actually been because he's been like, so my ex-boyfriend now, which is also really weird to say.
That's
He's sort
weird.
of seen like the growth of the business, and actually everyone in my team knows him. So actually, and everyone's always like, when are you going to Melbourne next? And even like telling my warehouse manager, she kept on saying, oh, so like, when are you going to Melbourne? AKA like, leave the office. We don't want you here anymore. And I was like, that's not happening anymore. I was just,
It's hard. Like once
yeah.
you've been with someone for so
I know.
long, it's
Actually,
like,
it's like weird because it's like an adult relationship. It's like when you're 23, 24 and you break up with someone, it's like, whatever. No one cares.
Totally.
yeah, it's like a bit of a divorce. Like
There's
you-
too much investment here and I'm feeling this is really weird. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that may be, I am pretty happy, but it's just like,
Fair enough. Well, what about a pet? Do you?
I don't know, because I travel quite a bit and like,
It's hard.
yeah. I live with my little sister. Well, my little sister lives with me, should I say. She desperately wants a pet, but she travels a lot too. She's the fashion director at Harper's Bazaar and Elle. She's
Okay,
always
cool.
traveling. So I'm like, how would we do this?
Yeah. Well, can
Yeah.
I tell you, I got a cat recently, and that is very low maintenance.
Yes, we once babysat a cat called Wesley Snipes. It was super cute. And I was like, I'm really into this. And yes, it is very low maintenance.
It's super low maintenance. I love the way cats always have really weird names, like that name.
Yeah,
that you
Wesley
just said.
Snipes.
Exactly.
Do you not know who that is because you're too young?
I don't know who that
He's,
is.
like-
Don't worry, I know. Who
Yeah,
Wesley
you know who
Snipes
that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Who is
I
it?
got you.
Can you fill our younger listeners in?
An American actor who was in a lot of action films.
You would definitely
okay.
know him if you saw his face. You just don't know him by name.
Okay, cool. My cat's name is Snow White. When I got her, her name was Isabel. But I was just like, this just won't do.
She's not an Isabel though, so
She's not. She's not very princessy, even though Snow White is technically a princess. I want to
yeah.
say.
But Isabel's more like French and stuck up.
Yeah.
Snow White's like a princess of the people.
Yeah, cute.
Agreed.
I like it. So Snow White is a vibe.
Okay, so you live with your sister. How's
Yes.
that?
It's the best. Obviously, she is very cute and chic. Her Instagram is at Caro Tran for listeners.
Amazing.
Everyone always is
Have
like,
to check her out.
I love her so much. I'm like, I know, so do I.
I've actually seen you guys together on Insta and you look really similar.
I'm 7 years older than her though.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
Props
she's
to
just
you.
really cool and chic, and she's letting me into her life a bit more. Like, I get to go out with her and her friends, her cool friends and stuff more. So it's really nice.
That's awesome.
And she obviously dresses really well. So every morning I'm like, you look so chic. And I want to take photos of her, and it's really fun. And she's a really good cook, and she likes to commentate like her cooking. Like, she's like, oh, I've got 4 burners on the go. And I'm like, okay, cool, calm down. She's like, food's ready on the pass. Bring it up to the dining room. Like, it's all very intense on
So
a
she's
Sunday
a
night.
budding master chef.
Yeah,
basically.
Everyone jokes that we should go on MKR, but I'm like, that would be like a career limiting move for you right now. Or
And
for
you,
us.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
for
say
us.
that.
But yeah, no, it's really enjoyable. I think a lot of people find that strange, but we get along really well. I mean, I'm sure you guys vibe that.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
find it strange at all.
Yeah.
And you guys obviously both work in fashion. Did you kind of help her get her foot in the door with the
No,
fashion industry?
probably the other way around. Do you remember
Really?
I was a lawyer? So
Me
I
too.
was the loser lawyer older sister, and she always, like, she started her career in mags and still is in mags. So if anything, she was doing me a solid and throwing me a credit here and there.
Yeah,
And
great.
introducing
Like,
me
hey,
to the
sis.
right influences here,
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah. Hey sis, can you like
Yeah,
post
get
about this
this. Can you
bag?
like put this on? And she was around here today. She's like, I need some cheap bags for my shoot. Harper's Bazaar. I was like, okay, cool, go for your life. Yes.
That's
Cheap, thanks.
amazing.
Yeah, thanks. Attainable, Caroline.
sisters,
Attainable.
They just like keep us grounded. You
Yeah,
know?
totally.
They're always there. That's why they're good to work with as well.
Exactly.
Well, and we also have, I don't know if you know this, I'm 5 years older than Jess. So we kind of have a similar dynamic where it kind of just
Where you had to
works.
explain the Wesley Snipes thing. Yeah. Because
Exactly.
you're not competitive because you're so much older. You're just like, whatever.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
what we tell people. Like, often they think we're twins and they're like, wow, it's so amazing. And we're like, I feel like if we were twins, we would not be friends because, like, it's too competitive. Whereas, like, it's
You might go for the same guy.
yeah,
you
or
know,
like
the same age.
share
Yeah,
a
that would never
birthday.
happen.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
not fun
No.
for anybody.
I'm like so much older than my sister that everything she does I think is super cute.
yeah,
I'm like, oh my
okay.
God, you're so cute.
That's so nice. So,
Yeah.
did you guys grow up together in Adelaide?
Yes, but she, like, I was always so much older, right? So by the time she started high school, I was already at uni.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't a lot of overlap. And then we both actually moved to Sydney at the same time. She started at uni, so she went to uni here, and I actually graduated from law school and came here. So it was actually very funny because she got her, like, she went to St. Andrews, which is like a residential college, and she got her pack, and then I got my pack from the law firm. I'm like, we're going.
See
My
ya.
poor mum.
Yeah. Are you just the two of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, your poor mum.
Yeah, my mum has massive FOMO. Like, we'll put her on speaker and she's really jealous of my sister's boyfriend. She's like, oh, you're so lucky, James. You get to be there with the girls all the time.
This sounds so similar to our family dynamic. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's very cute. So,
I was just going to say, we often take our mum on holidays. Like, it's me, Jess, our boyfriends, and our mums. But no, yeah, we're super, super close with our mum. She is the kind of person that everybody will go to us. Oh, I met your mum. She's so sweet. Like, she's just the sweetest. She's like sunshine to be around.
Nice.
So we are so lucky, and we kind of somehow ploy our boyfriends into being like, yeah. End of your holidays, you know, you can come, but really it's our holiday with our mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm into that.
Yeah. So sorry to hear you went through a breakup recently. It sucks.
I know. Should I read some Zoe Foster Blake books?
Maybe
Probably.
we should
Yeah.
check it out. Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
But what are you kind of finding that does drive you? Like, you know, was a relationship a really big part of your life for you, or are there other things that kind of drive you to get out of bed in the morning and start your day?
Yeah, so this is really interesting. I think a lot of people look at women like me who are like successful. I'm doing quotation marks.
You are doing air quotes, and we want to get to why later, but we'll come back to that.
And yes, work is exciting and I have the best job I've ever had in my life, right? I get to like think of bags and think about ways to communicate them to our customers and sell them. And luckily I do sell them. Like, I'm super grateful for that. But I think what drives me is like building a life for myself. So part of this business really, you know, came about because I wasn't enjoying being a lawyer, and neither was Tanya. I don't think we were like, you know, so excited about being partners at a law firm. And, you know, we created something so that we could escape that. And then that, you know, and that became a platform for us, you know, an entity that employs us, you know, enables us to travel, do all these amazing things. So it was more, you know, it was a lifestyle decision. So for me, like, I've never really wanted to say, like, make TDE too big that it's so much work. Like, I think it's now at this great stage where I've got this team that can help me and I don't actually have to work that much because I'm ready just to, like, live life and do other things as well. So if anything, it is just like building a beautiful life, and I think work is just a stream of that.
I love that. I love to hear that, like, you know, we all kind of like strive to work so hard because that's what everyone tells you that you're supposed to be doing, and it's like kind of refreshing and I guess comforting that I know you have worked so hard to build this thing up, but now you're kind of ready to like enjoy a little bit and like take the back seat and kind of watch it grow in like a nice way, not like an aggressive way, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's so hard because you're like, oh my God, we can either keep like pushing really hard and, you know, doing what people might expect or what people might want to write about, like further expansion, blah, blah, blah. But like at the end of the day, you have to do what's right for you. And, you know, maybe I'll turn a corner in another like 6 to 12 months, but at the moment, this is how I'm feeling. And yeah, I definitely think if you talk to your parents, it's all about lifestyle and creating a lifestyle.
Totally.
I think you'll be very lucky to sort of do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. So you kind of mentioned you've achieved this success in air quotes.
Air quotes.
We've actually heard you talk about that a couple of times. You know, we were doing a little bit of background research, reading some articles, and you've said, like, I don't feel like I'm successful. I don't feel like I've made it.
Oh no, I don't feel like that either.
And why is that?
I don't know, because I just think there's a lot more out there. Like, once you get to a certain stage, you're like, and you look up, you're like, Jesus, there's a long way to go till you can call yourself successful. Mm-hmm. It's a long way to go until you're Mark Zuckerberg or Mike Cannon-Brookes or someone like really epic. And so, like, I don't consider myself to be successful at all. I consider myself to, have been fortunate enough to do something like, as I said, build a relatively nice lifestyle around it, and whether I become successful or not, like, is in my destiny, is my choice. I don't know whether or not I'm going to do that, but I'm definitely not that at the moment.
It's so funny because it's like, I reckon every single person listening to this podcast right now is going, Elise Tran is like one of the most successful people that I can think of, particularly in Australia, like probably one of the most successful business people. And it's quite humbling on the one hand, you know, like you're very humble and that's amazing, but it's also really like, I feel like a lesson for people to hear, like, just kind of be grateful for what you do have, because all these people that are thinking, oh, if I could just be like Elise and build, you know, that kind of a business, then I'll be happy and then I'll feel successful. But then when you kind of get to your level, you're comparing yourself to a kind of Mark Zuckerberg. So I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and I don't want to be like I always try to emphasize to people in my team not to compare yourself too much, but definitely, and don't get caught up with labels and stuff. And that's why I'm not into things like girl boss or success or these other things. And not to take away from anyone else's achievements, but it's how I feel about, you know, the labeling at large.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We like to kind of think of comparing as like, rather than comparing yourself to someone else, it's like comparing yourself to like a year ago or 3 years ago. Like,
that's a good way of looking at it.
If Elise at 18 was sitting here and like could see everything that you had built up, like she'd be like, holy shit, like I am the best thing ever, you know? So, and like, I think, like Steph said, it on one hand it's humbling, but then at the same time, you've got to kind of like, you know, give yourself a pat on the back at some point.
I do buy myself nice things though, so
exactly.
You deserve it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Perfect. That's exactly the kind of thing we're talking about.
So I think everyone kind of, you know, sees this highlight reel, but it's so interesting because like already we've heard so much from you about, you know, you don't feel like you're successful. You don't feel like you're not just like living this high life that I think everybody thinks that you're living.
No, it's not a high life. What? If I had a hard life, I'd be able to post on Instagram more.
I think everyone feels like, and we were just chatting about this.
I know.
Like, I think that's the problem with Instagram is that everybody's like comparing their lives to somebody else's highlight reel and feeling really shit about themselves.
But not really. Like, I think people who kind of, I think if you think that the life is glamorous, then you would think that I would have enough content to sort of put out there every day. But my life is quite ordinary. You know, I come into the office, I do what I need to do, I go into a store, I might travel a bit to go to our other stores and see other team members elsewhere. You know, I go to other markets to look at what people are doing in the retail scene. Like, I mean, look, yeah, it's not awful, but it's not, I don't know, an Instagram life. Yeah.
It sounds pretty fun.
I don't think anything is an Instagram
Yeah.
life, though. That's the thing. Like, we had an Instagram life. We can tell you honestly, it doesn't exist.
Well, that's the thing, that like an Instagram life is like you're on this amazing holiday in this amazing setting and you're spending 3 hours at
I
a
know
time
what you
putting
said
together a
really
photo.
resonated with me.
Yeah,
it
like-
really did. Like, you know how you said you guys had like ruined family holidays and stuff. I kid you not. Like, one time I got to a hotel room and I said to my sister, just give me 15 minutes to Instagram everything while it's in pristine condition. And she sat there and she said it's been 2 hours.
Oh my.
And I felt like in my mind it had been half an hour tops.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God, totally. That's
And
crazy.
like that really resonated with me when you guys said that. And like on Wednesday, I'm going up to Brisbane to go to that Carlisle hotel that everyone's been staying at.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm so happy because Jasmine Dowling has already been there for me and done all the Instagrams.
Perfect.
So I can just for the first time ever go to a really like Instagrammy hotel, like a really, you know, aesthetically pleasing hotel and actually just look at it.
That's
This is never because
amazing.
That
I'm not
sounds
going to be able to
amazing.
do a better job than her. Like she did a really good job for us, and I've already.
She took the day
And-
edited product.
Yeah, we sent her a
Great.
heap of stuff, and I didn't know when I was going to go, so I was like, oh, I really want to get this while it's still hot.
That's
And she lives
so
up there, so
good.
I'm like, oh my god,
Oh, it's
Amazing.
because everything I
liberating.
do, like, I've already got it. I've got all the content.
Yeah, totally. One time we went to Hawaii with our awesome fivesome,
Mm-hmm.
and
The big five, as the WhatsApp
the big
is
five.
called.
And we just like decided that we wanted to do like a Frozen kind of like Steph and I like singing a Frozen song like in all these different areas like around Hawaii. It was
Stupidest idea we've ever had in our lives.
honestly, it was the biggest waste of time. So every day we would make my boyfriend follow us around with the video camera, like changing outfits and like putting different tubes on and all this stuff for like this video that ended up just like it did nothing. And there was just like
We ended up having to take it off YouTube because it violated the song.
Frozen.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
really?
violated copyright. So
Oh, gosh.
we didn't even keep it out there. But like, cool side story. A few years later, we went back to the exact same place, and Hans from Frozen. Wait, was it Hans or was it? Oh no, it was.
it was the mean one.
Yeah, Prince Char. Is that his name? No. I'm
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
it.
maybe.
So the guy that sings the song actually happened to be staying there, but that's just like.
That's cool.
I digress.
Yeah. So, in that kind of wavelength of like, I guess, sacrificing like epic experiences for what we do, is there anything that you kind of feel like you missed out on because you like put so much energy and time and yourself into building up this thing?
I've become a horrible friend. I used to be that friend that remembered everyone's birthdays and wrote people cards and gave people very meaningful gifts.
Oh, she's great.
And
I want to be friends with her.
yeah.
You just gave us the most meaningful gift
Oh,
ever.
look, someone else did that. I literally went down to Julia, who sits next to me, and I'm like, I've got 2 girls coming in today. Can you please do this today by 3?
Just
I
claim
did
it.
not
Just
do
claim
it.
it.
I did not. And I used to do a lot of thoughtful things for people. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people, one of the attributes that people used to describe me would be thoughtful. And I don't think that's the case anymore. Like they might use other words now, like dynamic and interesting. And maybe I wasn't that 4 years ago, even though I think I'm the same person. But I do think it's sad that, you know, now hopefully over the next few months when I'm not too busy that I can sort of start doing this. Like a lot of my friends have had children and stuff. So I really want to kind of like think of interesting, cute little gifts to give them other than like onesies from Country Road. You know, no offense to Country
Or
Road.
the daily edited swag.
Yeah, exactly. TDE. So I never give anyone anything from TDE. That was like a very like I could do that for the first year, and then after that, I was out.
Yeah.
So I really want to be involved in my friends' lives now more.
That is a sacrifice, isn't it? Like it's a hard one because you can't kind of be everything to everyone, and you needed to be like, you know, everything to this business in order to get it to
Well,
where
yeah. Then it sort of like you
become.
come down and you're like, well, during the big sort of growth phase of this business, it was really my sister, my ex-boyfriend now, a couple of friends, like 5. I had 5 people that I would like really kind of share everything with and do a lot of things with. Whereas my friendship circle was always a lot larger than that. So yeah, I'm very, luckily all those friends have been very forgiving, obviously. No one's held anything against me. They can all be won over with some swag, so that's cool.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
you know, I can
that's
get
good.
back on that track.
Good to know it's there if you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have been known to give free shoes instead of like doing a really thoughtful thing as well. It's hard. Like, it's just like you have so much going on and there's your stuff that you can just give to them.
I think for us as well, like, you know, having this business and kind of it ties you to a place. So for us, like, we love to travel, but having the business, it kind of anchors us in Melbourne a little bit. And we do feel like, you know, we see friends like moving overseas, and the fact that you can kind of just be like, oh, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go work in New York for a
You
while.
can do that. I don't know why you're talking about that. Your stuff is in 3PL and all your stuff came in a suitcase, so you can definitely travel.
Well, now that we've...
yeah, it's more of like the team now that's
Yeah.
really like tying us to Melbourne. Like, we feel like we need to show up for them every day and like be involved.
You'll
you
be
know?
surprised though.
Yeah. Well, I guess like we feel like, and
Yeah.
maybe this is our personal thing as well,
Yeah.
that like we want to show them that like we're as in it as they are, and like, you know, we work as hard, and
Yes,
we,
of course,
you
I
know,
get
are
that.
super invested.
I get that. That can also be communicated via video chat. So if you did want to go somewhere, I don't think anyone would ever hold that
Yeah.
against you.
It's-
Anyway, speak to your team about it, see how they feel.
Yeah, for sure. I think once we build it up a little bit more, like right now we've got 3 full-timers and the 2 of us, and the 5 of us are really close.
That's huge. It's a
Is
big
it?
team.
Is
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Oh,
5?
it's tiny.
Yeah.
Our little 5 of us. We're
Yeah.
just like a little clan.
Yeah, that's cool. That's great.
How big's your team now?
Oh, it's big. We probably have about 160 people be processed through payroll every week, right? Because we've got casuals and stuff. But of full-time staff, we've probably got about 40.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's massive.
So
So is that something that you feel like you're ready to... like, how do you feel about now being surrounded by people?
yes, I know it's very hard. It is this thing where you have to be everything to everyone, and people can misconstrue what you say. You might make a comment to someone in your team that is taken completely, you know, out of context, and it sounds bad. You know, like, I have to be quite censored. When it's a team of 5 people, you can say whatever you want to say, right? And as your team grows, like, you know, everyone comes to work with, everyone in your team is like different, and they have a different background and they have a different experience. And so, like, I've found that I've obviously had to take that into account, and I totally respect that. But then I have to actually pull back a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting thing as an entrepreneur, because it's kind of like you start out just creating beautiful things that you love, and then suddenly you're the head of this huge company, and those are 2 completely different roles.
Yes, that's what I find difficult, because I never set out to be a CEO. Like, I obviously can do it. This is the thing. I'm very qualified for this, right? Yeah. Because I used to be a lawyer. I can read, like, find like accounts. I can do Excel models. Like, I can do all of this stuff, and then I can do all the creative stuff as well. So in theory, I'm the right person for this. But I am finding the people element, and I never really got it. When people further along their journey used to say to me, the hardest thing is team. I used to be like, oh, whatever. I love all my girls. Not to say that I don't love them all now, but it's like, it's the easiest thing. You know, I've got a millennial group of people who are all my age, and, you know, it really, now I'm like seeing
Yeah, now
what
you
they're,
get it.
I understand what they're saying now.
Well, and it's like you become a people manager, I guess, like, and that's your number
I
one
never really
thing.
appreciated the gravity of it. And for some people listening, they might be like, ugh, sub story. I totally get it. You know, like, of course, I've got this great team doing all of this stuff for me. So,
And I
again,
think you're obviously grateful for it, but I think what I'm hearing is that, of course you can do it, of course you can do this role, but it almost sounds like there's a disconnect between being able to do it and what you're passionate about.
yeah, and I think, you know, maybe speak to me again in another, or listen to a podcast in another 6 to 12 months. Maybe I will
We'll come
have-
back. We'll have
yeah,
another chat.
maybe I will have like overcome this in the same way that I just overcame the whole, oh God, I've got to give work to people because otherwise they can't progress. And so I've sort of, now I'm managing their work a bit more, whereas I used to just physically just do it myself. And so maybe once I cross that bridge, and I'm further along that journey, that I'll feel better about it. But right now it's all like, oh my God, people are doing things, I have to follow them up, and then, you know, I might make a comment about someone's work and then all hell breaks loose kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So then talking about like success for you, like, you know, what do you define as success, and like how do you see yourself being successful? Like, is it that like in 10 years time you're just gonna be like somewhere on a beach like sipping cocktails and like with a dog?
Ooh,
You know,
oh yeah, or cat, as
Or
Maybe
a
discussed
cat,
earlier.
just after this conversation.
Yeah. I just think it'll be when I'm very comfortable with myself and what I'm doing, and that when everything sort of comes a bit more naturally. I think, when I was a lawyer, I found the work very difficult and I was very uncomfortable and stressed, by the whole situation. Now I'm like less stressed by the situation, not that comfortable with everything. But I think, I meet someone like, so for example, the guy who owns this building that we're in, this real like cool man who does office fit outs, and he moved out of here into a bigger office, and he's just like my definition of like, he's like cool. Like he's so relaxed with his work and all the build outs that he's doing. He builds huge things. I'm like, yeah, you got this. It's good.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I feel like it's just coming back to that passion. Like if you're doing something that you love, that's kind of when you found success. I feel like, is that what we're all thinking here?
Yeah,
Well-
I get, yes. And just being able to do only that. So one of the concepts that I had for myself this year, because a lot of people were like, well, what are your internal goals? Because a lot of people always ask me about what are the goals with the TDE business, and sure. But actually what I realized was I really only want to make stuff. And so what I'm thinking about working towards is like setting up my office of Elise Tran. It won't be called that. It'd be called something a bit more chic.
That's pretty chic.
And I own like part of the Daily Edited because I've got a co-founder. I own part of In the Roundhouse, which is my new homewares brand. I've also got a co-founder, and I'm going to launch a skincare line with a guy down in Melbourne called James Vivian.
okay.
Yeah, who's lovely. So, and then I would like to just then do the creative strategy stuff around that rather than be the CEO of 3 businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's
you
kind of
do actually have it fully planned out.
Kind of. Not, see how we go.
So
It's early
but
days.
you've already like you're on your way there. You've already launched In the Roundhouse.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us a bit about that? Because I actually stumbled across it. What was I doing last week? Oh, I was looking for a graphic designer for us to actually do a collaboration with on Tubes.
Yeah.
And your plates came up.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, who's the graphic designer that did those plates? It
Yeah.
was like this blue
Oh,
and
yeah.
white
Yeah.
pattern that I really liked. And then I like clicked through, and it just so happened that we were meeting with you this week. I was like, well, that's
cool.
meant to be.
Maybe we'd have a chat about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. We should look. That would be cool. Let's talk about that. So In the Roundhouse came about because one of my friends had the idea, school friend, and she wanted me to do this homewares business with her, and I was crazy. Like, I don't have time. Because this was 6 months ago before I turned this corner of I delegate work now. And then she kept on asking me about it, and I was like, oh, fine, I'll do it, but I won't do anything. Like, I'll just do some creative stuff. And, when you're doing things wrong, I'll tell you you're doing it wrong, And in the end, she's gotten pregnant and had a baby. Great. And now I'm just doing all of this stuff. But I love it. I love it. I love thinking about like patterns to put on plates and, iterating them and drawing things out and painting and stuff again, like weird. People were like, since when do you know how to do?
were the graphic
Yeah.
designer that I was admiring.
Thea downstairs manipulated some of them,
Okay.
like
They
cleaned
came
it
out of
up.
your brain and then she
Cleaned.
played
No,
with it.
but one of the sets, the summer collection, the swirly one, I painted that.
Okay, wow.
So yeah, and people are like, "Oh, I didn't know that you could do that," and I'm like, "Yeah, because you're seeing me as this TDE thing, I'm a lot of other things as well."
Yeah, well, it's funny. We do all get put in these boxes. Like, we like to think that we're a lot of other things too, but like, we're just the How to Live girls. Or people even
Yeah,
refer to
I
us as
get
How
that.
to Live, as if it's our name.
Yeah.
Like, they probably refer to you
yes.
sometimes.
Yes, the TDE girl. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
So yeah, it was really nice to come up with something that is not like necessarily trend focused, is like a totally different product, very small. I don't think it'll like set the world on fire like TDE has, but
You
it
never
doesn't
know.
matter. So yeah, it's just super enjoyable.
I feel like you're the kind of person that like you can't half-ass something. Like does your friend secretly know that? Like when she gave it to you and was like, yeah, cool. Just
I
go
have
with
like
it.
given her like very like clear expectations. I was like, I do not think this will be more than a $5 million business. Such a niche market. Like I've really like dampened her expectations. But of course, whatever happens, happens. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I should put them on Amazon US. And my ops manager is like, oh, here we go again. Here we go. Yeah.
It just sounds like you're a serial entrepreneur, like classic case. What really drives you is like creating something new and getting it off the ground.
I just like making stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like like tech or anything cool like entrepreneurial. It's just actually very old school, making physical things.
Which is kind of what an entrepreneur is. Like, it's not a tech entrepreneur
I know,
necessarily,
but like there's like, you know, it's not like newfangled ideas. Sorry, I didn't like articulate that well. Sometimes I think of you know, entrepreneurs as people who can actually solve problems. Like, I'm not solving a problem with these plates, okay? Like, we could define it as a problem. Oh, the problem is that people do not have enough coloured homewares.
Well, that's a big
Exactly.
problem in the world.
But, you know, like, it's not, to me, this, you know, breaking ground on something super innovative. But it's
Yeah.
cool and I like it, so whatever.
Well, and I think
Yeah.
the best things come from passion as well. So, like, if it's stemmed from something that you really enjoy, then that comes through and makes me click on your plates as opposed to some other thing that I had seen on the internet.
Cool. And I'm really glad that this has come up. So let's talk about that after. Yes.
Definitely be talking about it. So, I mean, for us, we love to kind of give back in everything that we do. And like you said, you know, like a lot of the times we're just like making pretty things and we're like, you know, is this contributing to the world? And so we actually, our shoes are vegan.
Cool.
And yeah, we have like quite a big vegan following with them and we're just both animal lovers. So when it
Right.
came to making shoes, we were like, it just kind of is natural that
Yes.
we would do things that are animal friendly. And we noticed that the Daily Edited recently came out with a vegan capsule collection, which we were very, very excited about. So just wondering, like, was that something that customers were driving or is that something that you guys saw an opportunity for?
Bit of both. There are definitely people who, you know, if they ask customers who would straight out go, is this leather, and actually put it down if it wasn't, and so you're like, wow, losing a customer. And I definitely felt like they're in the accessories market, I'm sure, as you found, like a lot of products branded vegan are very of a certain aesthetic. I think that's sort of changing in the last sort of period of time.
Definitely.
But yeah, it wasn't hard for us to sidestep into that, and we're just really creating things in our leather line in it's a
Like a PU.
it's a super fiber with a bit of pineapple fiber and stuff through it, but it's not 100%.
Creative.
It's not sustainable, which is why I don't like put it out there as it's just vegan, so it's not no animal. I think I definitely want to work towards making it more environmental, but
Totally.
Yeah,
to be
okay.
honest,
So
I'm not there yet.
It could just be like under the brand of like eco-friendly or whatever,
Yeah.
like we love the world. And it's actually funny that you just said that. This is a complete side note, but my friends were also talking about how, I don't know if you guys saw, but Magnum and Drumstick came out with
Yes.
vegan
Yes.
Magnums and Drumsticks.
Yes.
And,
Are they both streets? Are they both the same company?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like they did it together, and like everyone was like writing on it, these aren't vegan, they're so unhealthy. And like,
Vegan doesn't mean healthy.
yeah, exactly. Well, and I think that that's also the misconception that vegan doesn't necessarily mean that it's
Eco.
like eco-friendly or
No,
whatever.
yeah,
but
and you have to be very careful with your wording and stuff. It just means basically animal free.
Yeah, definitely.
So-
And I was actually one of the people that went into your store and I said, oh, I wanted to get a phone cover. Do you have any that are animal friendly? And they said no. And then I was so excited when you brought yours out,
Good,
which is awesome.
great.
So good. So are there any other things that you yourself are kind of passionate about that you want to be working on more now? Like in terms of when it comes to values and things like that, like
Yeah.
The environment, like we're really like with our business where we're at the moment is like animal friendly was the biggest tick that we wanted to have for shoes. Like we just never thought about having animal products, but then now that we're kind of into it, we're like, okay, well, you know, our packaging also would like it to be recycling and would also like to be using like recycled materials, and obviously we can't be everything to everyone, but
course.
we are kind of like now taking the steps to like start researching and start like doing more. Is that like a conversation that you guys are having at all?
With the Daily Edited?
Yeah.
Definitely the steps towards sustainability. It's very hard because it's this weird contrast between, okay, so some people look at our packaging and we've actually just made it recyclable in the
cool.
last like year.
well done.
Awesome.
But the issue is the color of it isn't as vibrant as it was previously, and we have complaints around that from consumers. So it's very hard for us to like go, what do people actually want here, and how do we draw like a balance between the people who want things that are like perfect, machine made, a lot of color, a lot of, you know, byproduct and other issues there, and the people who don't even care about the box and get very angry that it comes in a box.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
it's really difficult because, you know, for me as someone who reads the market to work out like what we should do next to really maximize sales, as bad as that sounds, I'm seeing like mixed signals on a lot of issues. You know, I see things around like, for example, last year we did a suite of phone cases with, you know, empowering sort of messages for women for International Women's Day. And actually half of all the sales, which was $25 of each case, went to Dress for Success, which is a,
Awesome. Yeah.
So good.
no one bought them. But during that week, we probably sold like we sell thousands of phone cases a week, right? And I think literally 20 or 30 units were the cases that actually had a cause. And every time we do something with a cause, even if we say 100% of proceeds, so we did breast cancer phone cases for, you know, NCBF late last year, and that was 100% of proceeds because we were like willing to back it. We were just going to cap it at I think we capped it at 200 units. We didn't sell through.
Wow.
So it's very interesting that we, you know, whether our customer base is kind of like issue agnostic, which is fine. But also that sort of playing into what's happening at large, you know, with young people not engaging in issues as well, like, you know, not voter dissidents, sort of, you know, there's a lot of things here. A lot of people think that there are all these trends, and I'm very interested to know if they are real or whether people are just saying things and not following through.
Yeah, that is super interesting.
You know?
And I guess then it's up to us as like business owners to then differentiate, like, okay, like, what am I going to put time and energy into that's like for me and my belief system, so that like I know that I'm creating good? Or
part of me is like, do we just make stuff that people are going to buy? Don't try to like side in on these issues, because if we make more money, then we can give more money away.
Yeah.
Bottom line is that we can cut bigger checks for whatever charity we want to. So it might be, you know, at the end of the year, if we're not worrying about all the, you know, because a lot of this stuff I have to prepare a lot of things for, like in launching an International Women's Day set of phone cases that we are going to do again, to give it another crack, is a lot of energy. Or should I just put that energy into selling more of my product, and then at the end of the day, yeah.
Totally. Well, I guess there are many roads to Rome, but I guess the most important thing is that you are thinking about something bigger than yourself, and it doesn't, you know, it doesn't have to be done in a specific way. And if you're finding that, you know, it's
very interesting, because we've only been, you know, in your first few years of business, you're obviously only worrying about yourself, to be honest. And then at a certain stage, you're then like, oh, yes, it is time that, you know, we do have different initiatives and think about other people other than ourselves. So we're definitely at that stage.
Yeah, well, it is hard. Like, even for us, like when we first set out to create our shoe label, we didn't want to, like, you know, there's so much about China that's like, no, don't manufacture in China, it's so bad for the world, whatever. And so we were kind of like, okay, let's go to downtown LA. We heard a lot of people were manufacturing there. And then when we got there, they were like, oh, well, if you make your shoes here, you'll probably need to retail them for like $400 US or whatever it might be. And like, you know, something that's really important to us is inclusivity, and that we're not kind of like making this really exclusive product that not a lot of people have access to, because who has $400 to spend on shoes? Not that many people. So it's kind of like, I guess you have to pick your battles and like talk about like what's really important to you. And in that case, we did end up saying, okay, no, we really want to produce a product that's like $80 to $150.
Yeah.
China needs to be the place
Yes,
that we go.
and China's a really great place to manufacture compared to some other
other
places.
We're going to China in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We love it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we know about it, like we even say to our customers, like, you know, like the shoes are actually technically handmade. Like, you know, when people think of like China, I feel like it's like a factory where like nothing gets touched.
It's a very
and
big
there's
stereotype.
big machines. Yeah. And like when we go there, it's just like a bunch of people who have a great deal of shoe knowledge creating shoes. Like,
yes, they've been making shoes for a long time.
Oh,
so
they're
they
good
get
at
it.
it. Yeah, totally. And it's just not at all what people think it is.
Totally.
We personally go there. We personally oversee it, as
Yeah.
you know, sure you guys do as well. And it's just like, it's funny that people have this conception of it.
Totally.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really interesting to us that you're now kind of looking at a couple of side hustles, because I feel like everybody has a side hustle these days. And, you know, I think it's actually really interesting to hear that you're not looking for the next daily edited, because we definitely came in here thinking that that is what you were going to say.
No.
Because, I mean, we just saw this amazing feed and we were like, oh, Alicia's done it again. This is going to be the next daily editor.
Maybe,
you know?
but like if that happens, it happens. Like I'm not going to stop the sales from coming through. I always want to please a customer, right?
Yeah.
I'm always grateful that someone would choose your product over someone else's.
Totally. But are there certain things that kind of happen with the daily editor that you feel like you would look to replicate if you wanted to kind of have that success again?
I just think, you know, on reflection, I think right time, right place, right product. Timing being like, you know, before a lot of people and as this personalization trend was picking up. And look, I didn't look into it. That it was just something I've always liked, personalization. Everyone's like, how did you pick out that trend? And I'm like, no, I seriously always liked it. Like I got a personalized Louis Vuitton Speedy for my 16th birthday from my gay uncle, right? So that was when that whole thing started. And then time, like place being social media. So very lucky that we sort of started kind of the same time as you guys.
Yeah.
You know, whereas, you know, a lot of influencers and stuff say it's difficult now because it's quite saturated. And product, like I guess, you know, the product itself is very good for the price point. Like I will back that. Like I will look at other products, like how we price products. It's got nothing to do with sometimes margin. It's got something to do with me going around and going, this feels like $129.95 because these people are selling it for that and we don't go on sale. I don't actually ever look at the raw cost.
That's so funny. And then is somebody sitting like your financial person going, oh my God, Elise, we cannot sell that for that amount of money.
But luckily, it just means we don't do it another run if we've really stuffed it up.
We actually did the exact same thing when we launched. We were like, we didn't realize that you were supposed to like do it in a methodical way.
Yeah, no.
And
I still don't do that now. Okay, we'll just like Tanya, my co-founder's like, go for your life and design whatever you want.
Yeah.
And like try it, because if it works, then we can figure out how to make it, you know, for a better price.
Yeah.
But you know, don't stump the creativity for like some formula that someone gave you.
That's so interesting to know, because so many mentors that we meet with that are like very traditional retail are like, it is all about the margin. You need to use.
We don't have anyone helping us or anything. That's why we kind of make up our own rules. And I think in this day and age, and because you're direct to consumer, in the same way that we are, you don't have to worry about that as much. Like if we tried to sit down, like so we're doing a collab with this guy who has a jewelry brand called 8 Other Reasons, and he's
oh my God, we know him.
Yeah, Charles is gorgeous, right?
Is he still living in LA or is he
Yeah,
back
he's in
Sydney?
LA.
Okay.
And mainly because I stocked 8 Other Reasons on TDE when we were doing clothes. So like I've known him for ages.
Oh,
and
so
he's
it's come full circle.
Yeah, and he's killing it, right? You need to do a podcast with him. He's like just doing
hilarious.
so well. Like I'm just so like proud to be Australian, you know? And he does all like wholesaling, and the way that he looks at stuff, I'm like, oh, nah, couldn't do this.
Yeah.
See,
Well, that's so
Yeah.
funny because that's why we're having these conversations, because we have just started to wholesale, and up until about 6 months ago, we were direct to consumer, and then we like started talking to David Jones and other partners, and our mentors were like, hang on a sec.
Yeah,
like,
you
we
have to
get everything in order.
Think about that.
before
So
you
yeah,
do
we don't
that.
wholesale anything at TDE.
Wow.
Yeah.
At all. Everything that we have with a retail partner is either via like a leasing model or like a drop shipping, similar sort of thing. In the Roundhouse, however, maybe you can teach me some stuff about how to work out a wholesale margin, because I wouldn't, because they're
Be
sort
happy to
We'll
send
send
you
you
a
our
couple
ready
spreadsheets.
reckoner.
yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
with TDE, if you are direct to consumer, has online been your biggest platform?
Yeah, so online is to date the biggest channel.
That's so cool.
So like 80% of the business.
Wow.
So like retail is not a small part. It's obviously very meaningful, but the online business just sees no end.
That's amazing.
That's really cool.
Is it majority Australia, or it's really
We're sort of getting
expanded?
to a nice split with the US. Like 30% of the business is coming out of the US, which is really cool.
That's great.
Yeah, but there's so much more work to do there. I'd love for it to be kind of the other way. Yeah.
Yeah, well, mainly it's great because it just means you have a great excuse to go to the US more, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I like it. Like going there. Yeah.
So we talked a lot about not failures, I don't want to say failures, but like challenges of running your own business, which I love because I think it's really important for people to hear that. But I feel like it's cool maybe if we then like end on a note about like what do you love the absolute most about kind of the fact that you got to create something that is yours and working for yourself every day?
I have absolute freedom. freedom to do whatever I want to do. So like, you know, your boyfriend dumps you. I could go away for 2 weeks. No one cares. Like I could get to the office at 11 and people are like, where were you? Not because they are questioning me, but like out of interest, where were you? Like if I want to leave the office now, I'll just leave. You know, like I'm getting my nails done. It's happening. You know, so it is just like doing whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever I feel like doing.
Awesome. Well, we always wrap up with some quick fires.
Cool.
Okay.
Not today.
Quick fire.
Okay. Kick it off with, what is your favorite daily edited accessory?
Ooh, phone case. Because you can change it up, you know, have different
Yeah,
ones.
we saw how many phone cases you have.
A lot.
Your celebrity crush.
Oh my God. Zac Efron.
No way!
Yeah.
I said that in our first episode podcast.
Oh, really? I didn't
Stop
listen to it. Yeah,
Oh my
I'm really
God.
into
I mean,
it.
that is so weird.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And I did. Is he actually yours?
What do you mean?
Because I just blurted it out, and then afterwards, I wish I said Bradley Cooper.
Oh, no, Zac Efron over. Bradley Cooper, a little bit old, a little bit creepy.
Oh,
Okay,
Like-
well, I feel like he's single, so maybe now that you're single, we'll just like
We'll
try
just-
and get this in front of him.
We just
Zac
slide into his
Efron.
DMs
Oh,
of his
yeah.
like 26 million followers. Be like, hey,
maybe
there.
send him some
Hey,
TD
boy.
swag. Maybe some swag will win him over.
Yeah, totally.
I actually saw him once at a party that I snuck into for Cannes Film Festival. And I think I went up to him and I was like, oh my God, my sister's in love with you. And he was like, okay.
it was like High School Musical days. Like it
Loved
was a big
that.
deal. Yeah.
Loved that.
Yeah.
You know, if I were to exit the office now, I'd be like, maybe I'll just put that on the Netflix.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh my God. What
That's
are you, a
weird.
mind reader? Your next question is...
What do you watch on Netflix?
Oh, like everything. People think I don't have time. I'm on the couch a lot. Or I like to watch something before I unwind. I like Riverdale. It's
I
got
love
a bit
Riverdale.
dark,
It
but I'm enjoying it.
this season
weirdly.
is very different, but I like it.
Yes.
Well, we just had a video by Vanessa Morgan, who plays Tony, wishing us luck for our podcast.
Yeah, I saw
Did
that.
you
I
see
saw
it?
that. Yeah, I saw that.
How
That was
good is
really
that?
cool. That
Oh
was
my
so
God.
cool.
And I love that you say you spend all this time on the couch watching Netflix, because so do we. And I just feel like female entrepreneurs keep it real. Like
Yeah.
men are like, no, let's work. But we kind of get that work-life balance thing. Like I need to go home and watch Netflix for 4 hours after a really
Well,
big day.
I
Yeah.
also think we work smarter than men. Like my boyfriend also runs his own company, and when I watch him, like he just like works all night, and I'm like, it's because you went to the office and talked for 5 hours, isn't it? And he's like, yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
maybe.
not as good as us.
Yeah, I do have a lot of time for TV, so weirdly, I do watch a lot of stuff.
So you mentioned earlier that you like to give presents. Do you
Pardon?
have
Yes, to give
yeah,
presents.
To give presents. Do you have a favorite present that you like to give?
Oh God, no, because it's like different stuff for different people.
Okay,
know,
you
all
pass the
time.
test.
Yeah.
It's about personalized gift giving.
Yeah,
of
like
course.
what? There's no go-to gift.
Oh, sorry.
The go-to gift for everyone else though is the daily edited. I just can't gift the daily edited.
True.
Got something for everybody.
It is actually a
Like,
really
seriously.
great gift. Yeah, totally. Like, there's nothing that's like, it's so personalized.
Name
that
someone,
people-
and then I'll be like, "That's the gift for them from TDE." You know?
Yeah, that's
totally.
good. Yeah, I gave my best friend a tote bag when she started her first job. So thoughtful.
Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if
With,
you
like,
didn't want to
her
spend that much, you could have done a
initials, ZMD.
notebook.
Oh yeah, true.
You
It was
know?
with a few friends, so
Oh,
we
yeah,
could afford
good.
it.
Yeah, great.
Last question: what is your ideal Saturday night?
Oh, you know what? I'm up and down. Sometimes I like to go to the club, or whatever, and have like a really big night. And other nights it's like, I guess my ultimate really is like a beautiful dinner at whatever new restaurant there is, because I love eating, and a side of fries, followed by the club.
Okay.
Cool.
But it's the same group of people, so everyone stays. It's not like this whole like silent bombing and everyone leaves.
Yeah.
And you get there and everyone's had like 5-6 wines, and you're like, yeah.
Oh, that's so
Everything's
fun. I
great.
feel like we could hang out on a Saturday
Yeah,
night.
I'm
That
really
sounds
into
ideal.
that format of an evening.
Yeah,
That sounds like a great evening.
You need the dinner. Like, I don't want to just like pre-drink at someone's
No,
house or
not
something
into that.
lame like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like now we're getting into like your dating profile. Have you used Have you been on Tinder ever, by the way, if you haven't been single in like 12 years?
No, like kind of. Like I've obviously seen it and interacted with it.
Yeah.
I know,
Or
this is
Bumble. Maybe you could get on Bumble.
Dude, this is a whole new world.
This is my thing,
girls
'cause-
downstairs just want to do it for me. And then, like,
Yeah.
along with like an
You should get
update
them
on
too.
like where we're at with online orders, they're going to give me 3 profiles to look at. Like,
That's
that's what they keep joking
hilarious.
about.
Monday morning meetings. I love
Yeah.
that, because we've both been
Everyone
with our
present a
boyfriends.
candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've both been with our boyfriends for like 7 years now, so we've never used any of these online dating providers.
I'll let
It's
you know.
fun.
Well, together in this next podcast that
Okay,
we
great.
do,
Excellent.
we're when I've turned a corner, because I'm obviously not in a great place, then we can talk about all these things. Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Cool.
Can't wait.
Well, thank you so much for turning it on for us today. We would not
Did
have
I though?
known.
I was like,
No,
oh,
you
did.
absolutely did.
I think I noticed in the middle you kind of got lost in it and you were smiling and I think you were having a good time.
no, it was
I hope
very
you were
nice to
having a good
talk to you. It was a very interesting set of questions.
time. Awesome.
Excellent.
Very, yeah, really cool.
Cool. We
Good
know you're
work,
like
girls.
seasoned in podcasting, so we tried to keep it interesting.
That's seasoned. I love that you say that. No, I've done like 4.
You've done 4,
Yeah.
exactly 4.
But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like a
Listen to
lot.
them.
You know, if you type in your name on the podcast app, like a lot comes
Oh,
up. We have
really?
a lot of competition.
Oh God. I mean, however, yours did like spark my interest the most, and most of the time I don't say yes.
Ah,
well,
Yeah.
thank you. for
I was
saying
just like, I'm
that.
very keen to meet them because I have seen them, and then now this. So
Yeah, well,
yeah,
I'm
really.
glad we got
Excellent.
to meet.
Cool.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.